and welcome to No Holds Barred. I am Ezio. I forgot the intro to how I do No Holds Barred, but it doesn't matter. Welcome to our sort of bookend to these journeys, where I sit here at the completion of a game and contemplate what I think of the game, and probably ramble uselessly about it for the next 5 to 10 minutes, so hello. Anyway, you join us as we have finished Batman Arkham Origins. However, a slightly different one than usual. Instead of a full completion, which I wasn't going to do, we were going to do 100% by my own criteria, as we usually do here on the channel. Slight issue with that. We couldn't, so we're doing a 90% run. I'll get to that in a moment. But beyond that, the game. What do I think of it? Well, considering I think I was probably one of the few people when this game came out who actually very much enjoyed it, because everyone sort of panned it off, mainly because it was not Rocksteady and it was a stopgap between Arkham City, which was a legendary game, and Arkham Knight, which we won't go into, but there was high anticipation and hype for Arkham Knight, so this game sort of came out and then got bludgeoned by the fan base for not being very good. Thing is, I think it is very good. Well, maybe not very good. Very good might be a bit of a stretch, but I certainly think it's a brilliant Arkham game that very much stands up with the rest of them. It has its issues, which we will very much go into. But we'll start, as we always do, with my key part of any game I play, the story. This game takes place on Christmas Eve in, I think, the second year of Bruce Wayne's crusade as Batman. The Batcave is still being fleshed out. Batman is still a myth, an unknown creature. He's just a vigilante, but not many people have ever seen him. On this night, he stops a riot at Blackgate Prison. It is here that he learns of, I think it's 6 or 7 assassins who have been hired by a character known as Black Mask to stop the Batman. Whoever kills the Bat earns, I think it's $7 million. And so it's a race against time for Batman to stop the assassins on Christmas Eve, to stop them from putting civilians in harm's way. Along the way, facing off against the Penguin, Black Mask, Killer Croc, and many other assassins. I won't spoil that particular point. Or who one of the big reveals is. Oh, and Bane. Bane, actually, by the way, in this game. Fantastic. It actually really builds onto his character as to explain how we end up with the Bane we see in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City versus the Bane we see in this game, especially if you pay attention to the lore. Mentioning lore, quite a lot of bit of lore. Lore is a bit of a funny thing with this game. There are few aspects, because it's a different studio with only Rocksteady giving the assets and technical know-how to them for the free-flow fighting system. You end up with a few disparages with lore, but it's not so egregious and so bad. I'm looking at you, Tears of the Kingdom, where you can't work the pieces into the jigsaw with a bit of mental gymnastics. You can make it all sort of work. But yeah, story-wise, I absolutely love the story. Brilliant story. There's a lot of subtle character development in it. I very much like, I think Batman's pretty good. I think Alfred is amazing. Bane, fantastic. I think they could have probably done more with the assassins, I'm going to be honest. The assassins were sort of hyped up, but most of them are sort of taken out in like one mission or two, so yeah. But all in all, I'll try and keep an eye on the spoilers for the story. Fantastic story, very much a high point. Gameplay-wise, the fighting, the combat system, it feels, I don't know, I've been playing alongside this Arkham City as I've worked through trying to get 100% completion. The combat here feels more raw. I don't know whether that's intended, but Batman feels like he hits harder. He's a bit slower, a bit clunkier compared to the way he is in Arkham City, which makes sense if he's only in his second year of Batman. He isn't as refined as he is in Arkham City. That's quite a nice touch. Like I said, I don't know whether it's intentional or not. The game has its bugs. It has its glitches. We've had at least a handful of crashes. Anyone who's joined us for the majority of this journey will have seen at least one crash at some point. It has characters, random ragdolls catapulting up into the air and all over the place. It's not the most stable of games, is what I'm trying to say. But in terms of the combat's brilliant, but combat is still a free-flow system built by Rocksteady, which to this day is one of the best combat, it's one of the best fighting systems in a game period. This isn't a dedicated fighting game. It's not a Street Fighter. It's a beat 'em up. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very much a beat 'em up. So I'll put this up. I don't know. Would I say this is better than Yakuza's fighting system? Probably by a small margin, I suppose. But yeah, fighting system's fantastic. Quickfire gadgets, still fantastic. The electric gloves, small spoiler, I suppose. They're a gadget you unlock eventually. Not as OP as I thought they were. I suppose they could be, but at the same time, you have plenty of other ways of taking down various enemies. The gloves may be a bit OP, but they're no more different than the wreck gun in Arkham City, in my opinion. Now, as for the rest of the gameplay, grappling still there, gliding still there, all still brilliant. Traversing Gotham, you have a quick travel now in the form of the Batwing. That was quite nice. I didn't use it that much, but it was certainly useful in the periods where I couldn't be bothered travelling across the map for all the Riddler stuff. He's known as Enigma in this game. He has 200 things to collect. Not that bad in the grand scheme of things, though in fairness I have just finished a full completion of Tears of the Kingdom, so anything is better than what I've faced in recent memory. Game stability, like I said, crashes a bit. However, there is one very egregious point that I really don't like, and this is why this is a 90% run, and that is the Dark Knight system. Turbo Drive Live. Welcome, Raiders. I shall give you a proper welcome in a moment, but we're in the middle of a no holds barred. This is the problem when you do these things live. Yes, we have the joy and wonder of the Dark Knight system. These are basically challenges, but these are challenges only available inside of the story. This, in normal circumstances, is fine. For example, for World's Greatest Detective, you just have to complete a certain amount of the database. Or the Vigilante, you do combat challenges. Admittedly, the last one we got from a glitch. Not that I'm going to complain about it, but you could do it. I was going to do it legit. I tried to do it legit, and then it glitched out and it gave it to me anyway. Maybe the game took pity on me at that point. Who knows? Either way, yes. There's combat challenges, there's like use certain quick fires and certain combos or a certain amount of times. However, then there's the Predator ones. The worst nightmare, for example. This is where the game goes slightly, and by slightly I mean a ship rolling onto its side, off kilter. Because they've locked them specific Predator encounters in the story. Specific Predator encounters that, once you finish them, the game saves. Predator encounters where you do not know you've got the challenge until you've taken down the last goon, and the encounter saves. I think you can probably guess where this is going. You muck up one of these, you better be perfectly certain that you've done the correct level of Worst Nightmare in the correct Predator mission, and you've done all of the criteria required, because if you haven't, you don't get the level for that particular part of the Dark Knight system, you do not get the unlock, and you lock yourself out of all of the other levels if you're not careful. That's what we did. That's why we're at 90%, because whether it be a glitch or just a really bad bit of design, one of the takedowns in a Predator mission that we needed didn't work. I then thought, oh well, maybe I misunderstood it and it meant this type of takedown, because they did sound similar. I freely admit they do sound similar. I should have looked it up. I didn't. It's my fault, but I did the takedown. At the end of the thing, nope, no achievement, no shiny look, you got the level. And then I was locked out of it, and then I was locked out of the Sonic Batarang, or the Sonic Batarang takedown even, which means we can't get all of the weapon upgrades. Rather annoying, but there we go. So yes, I don't like the Dark Knight system. You have two options at that point. You either delete your save and start again, that wasn't going to happen, or you play the game in New Game Plus. Also not going to happen in this run, which is still nonsense as far as I'm concerned anyway, because if you screw it up in the New Game Plus, which by the way is a harder challenge, then you are completely scuppered and you have to delete your save and try again. One way they could have mitigated this, just one, and that you should have tied it to the challenge system. Because you have Batman's training center thing in the Batcave, you could have used that. You could have tied the Predator missions into the AR training system. That way, you could repeat the Predator mission as many times as you wanted, and you can unlock the things that you want. But they didn't do that, which is a really daft idea as far as I am concerned. So, yeah, that tarnishes the game a smudge in my opinion. If I wasn't going for 100%, then that's fine. I can live with that. But the fact is that they've tied, even if it was just for an achievement, I wouldn't have minded. But because they've tied gadget unlocks to it, that's where I get rather miffed about it. But there's that. Soundtrack-wise, soundtrack's still amazing. I forgot how much I liked having a soundtrack in a game, I must admit. It's not so in your face. Well, it is in a few places, but it's welcome in a few places. There's a certain cutscene where I will never forget it simply because of the cutscene and the music playing behind the cutscene. If you've ever played this game, you probably know what I'm talking about. But yes, soundtrack's fine. Graphics, I think the graphics have aged actually particularly well. The graphics have aged very well. The in-game graphics, we're playing, because it's an old game and I've got a decent computer, I've whacked this all up to Ultra, it's never dipped below 60 FPS. The game looks fantastic. The cutscenes, however, are all pre-rendered. And the pre-rendered cutscenes, though directed very nice, I do like the cutscenes, you can see the age in them. You sort of end up with the high quality of the in-game engine pushed to the max, and then you suddenly dip to like 720p as the rest of the cutscene kicks in and plays, and it's a bit grainy, and it's just... I'm not complaining too much, but yeah, it is a bit jarring at a few points. And I think that's everything. I think I've rambled about everything that I think of this game. Good game. I would certainly play it again. I might 100% it offline, actually, because, yeah, I love all... Well, I say I love all the Arkham games. The next one is Arkham Knight, which is the only game I've ever refunded on Steam, because I was so annoyed with it. Unfortunately, somebody may have thrown down a gauntlet, so we may be doing a completion run of Arkham Knight. That's going to be fun, but either way, that's for a later date. But for now, all I have to say is, well, thank you very much for joining me as I've rambled about this game. If you've joined me for the run of this Let's Play, be it on Twitch or in the YouTube archive, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And hopefully I'll see you again on the next one. But until then, may you all have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever it is around this whole wide world you are. And as always, until our paths next cross again, the Vortex awaits. And I'll see you all next time.